So Louise asks, we have automated tests that cover all this. How would you respond to comments like this when people challenge the idea that exploratory testing is necessary? So
Ooh.
we've got automated tests that cover all this. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I've got some slides.
Really? That's awesome. I've not seen you show any slides before.
I know. Here we go. So, I thought this might come up. So, introducing exploratory testing. So, yeah, you're going to come up to a lot of people who, as you join into teams, are probably going to have a lot of pushback for you because this is a new way of working. They might not understand what we're here to do, and some of the things that might come up are things like this. So, my development team might say, we're skeptical. Why should we even bother to do exploratory testing? So in those sorts of situations, what we want to do is we want to talk about it. We want to basically start debunking the myths. We want to get away from the idea that exploratory testing is just ad hoc and chaotic, but instead we want to set expectations and show our teams that I can focus my testing to find out corner and edge cases. I'm going to work with you to say, what are the priorities? What do we think we need to understand about this? And how can I share it with you to help make design decisions? How can I do the cognitive offloading of thinking about all the risks for testing or for our product that will allow you to focus on implementation? So show people, there is benefits to doing this. Here's why we might do it. They might say, we don't need testing. We're completely infallible. In which case we point out, it's not about test versus development. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about giving people useful information in a timely way. And it's also, as we said originally, automated testing can't show us everything. As we saw from one of my earlier slides, scripted testing, automated testing is great when we already know what we want to assert. When we can say, I know it will do X, pass or fail, that's great. But what about when we don't know what we want? What don't we know about this? What assumptions have we made? What happens if these giant colossuses that I've genetically engineered come in and try and use the product? What happens in those situations? Do we need to find out that information? I can help you find that information. So that's when I would start to try and showcase the use of exploratory testing. People might say, but it'll slow us down. You're doing extra stuff. Well, we can showcase that exploratory testing can be planned for and it can be prioritized. So we're not just doing ad hoc and we're not just doing testing that will last forever. We're focusing on saying, here's my priorities. Here's my test charters that I've prioritized with you. Here's my time box to find useful information. So therefore, here's the stuff that isn't going to, it's not going to just take forever. I'm not going to let it overrun. I'm working with you here to get you, useful information. And we can talk about how shifting left, so going earlier into our process, will allow us to save time. If we talk about the ideas and talk about saying, are you sure you wanted a chair? Did you want a bed? That will save us so much time of implementation. And we test what we need to test and what's useful, what's actually going to give us information that will help us to drive out decisions. So rather than trying to test for everything, we're testing what's useful for people. So again, not slowing us down. And yeah, automation is definitely useful. When we found information out from our exploratory testing, when we found out what we want our scope of testing to include, let's put that in. And automation will definitely speed up our regression and save us time in the longer run as well. They might then ask, well, what are we getting out of this? The short answer is information. We are taking ownership of the quality of our product. We are trying to, we're taking ownership of the quality of our product. And that basically means we need that information to drive out what good looks like. By getting more information from exploratory testing, we can drive out, what do we want this to do? How good does it need to be? Are there any changes that are needed? And what should we automate to make sure we continue doing in the future? And also we can share via pairing, via debriefing, to help our teammates and show them what they can get out of it. So increase product knowledge. If new developers come into your team, or if they're working on a new thing, you can pair with them to say, I've done exploratory testing, or we're doing exploratory testing together. Now we know more about this product. We're learning together. Or we can help debugging. You can do loads of debugging by pairing with a developer, shoving breakpoints into the code, and doing exploratory testing to help find out where issues lie. So there's loads that people can get out of it. That was a very long, and it answered like multiple questions at once. But if people say, we've got a load of automation, why do we need exploratory testing? The answer is because automation can only tell us about what we already know. It can only tell me like things that I've already assumed to be true in the first place. But what about the rest? And do we need to know about that?